right, folks, welcome back to the Get Busy podcast. That's your boy B Jones.
And that there is your boy Izzy.
Yo, so we're just going to jump right into it today.
Let's go.
So I'm sure by now everybody's heard about the Marvin Sapp incident where the church doors were being held by the ushers. Right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of takes, when it comes to that. A lot of people are kind of, oh, heck no. You know what I'm saying?
Couple of memes,
Yeah, definitely. And so I initially wanted to kind of jump in because I felt that sentiment that a lot of people feel like, oh, that's wild. You know what I mean?
It is. Okay, so for those of y'all who don't know what happened, so Marvin Sapp, I know him as, I didn't know he was a preacher until you had told me about this. And so, he gospel singer.
Yep. Award-winning gospel singer.
Known for his song, I Never Would Have Made It. Was that his?
I don't know if that was his. I know that he got praise him in advance. That was the one that kind of brought me into him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Never Would Have Made It was.
It probably is.
No. In fact, it is because one of the memes they were singing that. Yeah. So Never Would Have Made It.
Yeah.
Dope song. Great song. And so he's a pastor at this church.
Yep. And
he was collecting an offering. Do you know what the offering was for?
So I don't know what the offering was for.
Okay.
I came into the video where he was telling the ushers to close the doors,
Yeah.
And repeated it, like several times to close the doors.
That's what stood out about the video to me.
Yeah.
So it seemed like this was a thing that they don't normally do.
Correct.
Because normally, if it's something that you already do or have done before, the pastor, who's the head of the church, was like, hey, I need ushers to do this. The ushers do it.
Right.
But he said it several times.
Yeah, it was like 4 times at least.
Kind of seemed like even getting a little bit agitated, like, why aren't y'all moving? Like, no, I'm serious. Close these doors. And so I'm sure, like, when I watched the video, I imagined what it would be like to be an usher in that situation. Is like,
kind of looking like, oh, is he?
Then everybody's looking at you. You're like, yeah. Sorry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. So that's how I saw it in my mind. But, he was trying to collect, what was it? Like 40,000, like $40,000 from the congregation there and like the online
congregation.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the is a pretty big church apparently, because he said that there's 1,000 people in here right now.
Yeah.
And he's 1,000 people online. He said, and if everybody gives $20, that'll be $40,000.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, and I'm sure there's been churches, that have kind of gone this route, a lot. And that's kind of one of the things that that's one of the negative criticisms of like the black church, you know what I'm saying? Is that pastors, kind of go after your pockets. And, but to hear it in that way was very aggressive. It was very like over the top for me. You know what I mean? Like, close the doors. Like, what are you trying to lock me in here to get something paid? But I want to take a little sidestep from it. So that's how I was first going to approach it. Like, yo, this is crazy. Okay. And I still feel that way. And I think that, but then I heard a gentleman, somebody made a comment about gossiping, within the kingdom and as believers. Okay.
Right.
And how important it is for us not to be gossiping and broadcasting negative publicity for what it is that, as believers we're doing.
Okay. So back it up a little bit. So you were coming over the house today. It's Sunday.
Yep.
It's a hot topic.
We
wanted to work on getting stuff out there in a timely manner. So normally we'll record on Wednesdays, but we were like, hey, just come over on Sunday so we can try to get this thing out while it's starting to get talked about, right?
Correct.
Good business, good, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Whatever, right? So your mom, shout out to Trudy Haskell, sent you a video.
Correct.
And then you sent that video to me like this is an hour ago.
Yes.
Right before you came over my house.
Correct.
And so you watched it, I watched it.
Yeah.
And it gave me like a concern to pause, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. It's like it gave me a little bit of conviction on how to approach it, right? But I still think that we have a responsibility because at the end of the day, people people will know as believers, right? If we're gossiping amongst one another, if we're doing this, that, and the third, that kind of drives people away from the church, right? When non-believers see that kind of thing, that doesn't really push them towards the church. But also when non-believers see the video that was put out, that pushes people away from the church as well. And so I think we still have a responsibility to address it honestly, amongst believers. Like, yo, this is what you don't do. I feel like on this platform, on this podcast, we do a good job of being honest about things. And we do give preachers and teachers their flowers. There's been numerous people that we've shouted out on the pod for doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we still have to be honest when something's going on that's wrong, because maybe somebody doesn't recognize it as such. And I feel like we still have that responsibility to say, hey, you know, this is what's going to push people away as well.
Yeah. So it changed the video that you sent. Kind of changed my mindset as far as, because you kind of get stuck in that, you know, you're trying to, you know, you're in the YouTube space. You want to get clicks, you want to get views, you want to get the comments up, subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. And so, and to be honest, like we all like that, got gossipy,
Right.
Like the bad news sells.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? If let's keep it a buck, Marvin Sapp would have did something where his church gave 100,000 to some to this earthquake relief, Nehemiah, that just happened. You know what I'm saying? Prayers going up to all the people affected by the earthquake.
Right.
We wouldn't be talking about it.
Correct.
Because we don't. That's a good thing, but we don't really care like that, and y'all don't really care like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's the truth.
So, you know, we do like to, you know, the things, the hot topics are the more gossipy type stuff. So I think with that being said, we do have to, one, check our motives.
Yes.
Are we doing this just for the clicks? Is our heart in the right place?
Right.
Is this something we should talk about? If it is, how should we approach it?
Right.
Which is kind of where we are now.
Correct.
So we kind of took a little skirt. It's like, okay, let's pause and think about it.
Totally.
Before we just say what we just felt like saying about the situation. Right.
So some of the things that I want to say about just that is that nobody that's really making these videos, well, not to my knowledge yet, at least, you know, was in the building, right? And so there is a level of understanding as a pastor who your congregation is. You know what I'm saying? And so it's easy to look from the outside and make a judgment call, but not being in the midst, not knowing what was going on, and not having the totality of like the message that was being broadcast or being preached. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's really not fair, to cast judgment completely without knowing the whole picture. Thing number one. Right. And then also, everybody has a moment. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to have a perfect track record when it comes to how we go about doing things. And so, more than anything, man, just kind of praying for Marvin Sapp in this time, and praying for that congregation, because I don't know what it is that they're going through, what kind of backlash it is that he's facing. But I can imagine, you know, the next day how that could go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so as a spiritual leader, which he obviously is, and as somebody that has influence, I think more than just like lambasting them with criticism, man, it's like, it's really time to just uplift them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, I don't know what the money he was raising, what it was for. You know what I'm saying? Was it for him to get a new car? Right. Are they misusing funds at his church? Right. Have they never misused funds at his church? Right. Right. Are they raising money for something that's going to affect people for the kingdom? Correct. Affect people's souls, improve their lives. That stuff does matter. It matters a lot. It matters a whole lot. It does. So whether you agree with what he said, and so when you first sent me the story, I was at work and I was actually listening to Tim Ross, one of his like live
podcast. And so he was somebody that brought it to his attention, and he had kind of addressed it. And it was very interesting. So he pointed out, because like the majority of the people that he works with are Hispanic on his.
Okay. As he said or whatever.
Yeah. He's somewhere in Texas anyway. So like when he talks, he does like give a lot of, he has 1 million plus followers. People the people that subscribe, that listen to him, is like over 1,000 people that tune in live, but it's like all over the world. So when he talks, he does give a lot of Black perspective on certain things, because this community is so diverse.
Okay.
And it's, in the heart of like just people understanding. And so when they were talking about their situation, he was pointing out in the traditional Black church, when we were first starting out, you would have, before technology, like people gave cash money when they gave their tithe and offerings. And so you got a lot of people in there that, Bible believing Christians. You got a lot of people in that church that aren't, what I'm saying? Somebody either drug them there, or they're just curious, or they're trying to, figure it out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people from the streets, that aren't there yet. Right. So when you got everybody is doing transactions in cash and you're passing the plate around, you had to have ushers watching the plate at the doors, because people would like grab the money and then run out the back of the church. So it became a thing where you had to do the setup before the offering, where you have an usher posted at each door.
Yep.
And then you also had the ushers on the aisles watching people's hands as they're doing the transactions. And so that was like a normal thing.
Yep, correct.
You know what I'm saying? That continued on, especially if you have a church that still has like a lot of, operates out of a lot of tradition. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. So, so you have to include that aspect of it too. So I was like, okay, that's, what I'm saying? It kind of, the pieces started coming together. Yeah. Not justifying like whether I thought he should have did it, but again, we're both admitting that we don't know all the particulars of the information of what it all was. So yeah, like you said, instead of like criticizing, which I think it's okay to critique, but also we have to balance it out and really just take an honest look. Like, we don't know everything.
Correct.
And instead of just criticizing, we should pray for this man, pray for his church.
Absolutely.
Because especially, when your church, I'm guessing his church has never been on the news for anything except for like this one thing, what I'm saying? And they've been around probably for a while, right? So now if you're a member of that church, people are like, oh, you go to Marvin Sapp, you know what I'm saying? So you got to think about him as a pastor, the staff members, the congregation, like, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot, going through a lot. And again, this might have been a misstep by him. He could have maybe done it a little bit differently, but all of us could have done something a little bit differently in our lives. So, and none of us wants the whole world coming down on us
because of that mistake,
the mistakes,
misstep,
right? The mistakes that we make. So
correct.
Let's try to, practical application. Let's do what the Bible says and treat people the way we want to be treated.
Absolutely.
So for some people, it's called the golden rule, but that's actually scripture.
Yeah, like a whole lot of things that people try to adopt and just think that it's theirs. But it started off biblically first.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's really it. You hit it on the head. Don't be so quick to judge. And that's and I'm speaking to myself in that same regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was ready, bro. I was like, oh, this about to be a good one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Holy Spirit, work through your mama. Yeah. And work through that video that we saw.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think it's good. I think it's an opportunity for us to be able to grow and mature as believers.
100%.
And so we hope that y'all, when y'all watch this, that'll affect you too. Some of y'all are already, mature. You know what I'm saying? It's us just trying to catch up to y'all. And then some of y'all in the same boat as us, we was ready to throw stones. You know what I'm saying? And, we all,
that's just real.
That's what it is. So, I definitely, I would normally not commit myself to prayer for somebody that I hear in any type of situation like that. Right. But I'm going to commit myself to prayer for this man and for his church.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, it could have been, if you know all the information, it's like, oh, okay, I still don't like the way he did it, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or even if it wasn't that, it's still, as believers, we're called to speak the truth to each other, but we don't know him personally. So
Correct.
The people that's in his life personally and the staff, the people at the church, those are the people that need to correct him.
Correct.
Face to face or on the phone or whatever. And then we as the outside believers, we need to be praying for him in his church.
For him, period, point blank, the end.
Yeah. So
there it is. So look, until next time, folks, make it a great day. Get busy.
Get busy. Love y'all. Peace.
Peace.